evening. I'm David Suskind.
No, you're not.
I'm sorry, I made a mistake.
Dr. Louis Fetter.
You're right. I am Dr. Louis Fetter.
I'm David Suskind.
Would you wait a moment, please?
All right.
Let me tell my wonderful audience who I am and what we're going to do here tonight.
All right.
I'm Dr. Louis Fetter, and I'm a cosmetic dermatologist and surgeon practicing in New York. Welcome once again to Here's Looking at You.
I've been a patient of his. My wife's been a patient of his.
My gosh.
My daughter is a patient of his.
David?
They're all so beautiful, they don't need any plastic surgery, but if they needed it, I'd have it done with him.
Now, I can go home,
Yeah.
but I'm going to tell the audience still, this show, as you know, is made and designed for you to provide insight into how all of us can look better, healthier, and perhaps more youthful. Now, I'm in a very unusual position tonight because I'm sure there are
you're sober.
That's also true, yes. But I'll bet there are literally hundreds upon hundreds of people, both in the world of fashion and show business and actors and actresses, who would love to be able to sit in this seat tonight and have the pleasure to grill David Suskind, who's not only a dear friend of mine, but a chum and a pal around and a confidant. Is that not quite true?
Absolutely every count. And I'll tell you who'd like to be in that chair.
Tell me.
Internal Revenue
Oh,
Department.
my God. Who else?
The Morals Squad.
Uh-huh.
The DA, Assistant DA, and the 80 Assistant DAs that there are in 50 states.
I like that. That's,
James Aubrey the Third, or whatever his name was. I don't like him too much.
And who else?
Oh, I don't know. I can think of a lot of people who'd like to grill
I'm
me.
sure, usually when I watch your show, I'm just so impressed how at ease you make most of your guests feel. In fact, when I did your show, I was so at ease, people said, my God, didn't you feel nervous on the show? I said,
You were
no,
on a show.
David was so easy.
On, you know, beauty.
It was a beauty show, right?
Plastic surgery.
Cosmetic surgery.
When, where, why, how much.
Right.
And how permanent. And how beautiful can you be? And what are reasonable expectations of having your face made better?
Right. Skin.
By skilled physicians
That's
like
that's
yourself
important.
and the ones that were on the show.
Right, we had good people on the show.
We had Dr. Hogan, he's brilliant,
Right.
and we had Dr. Ralph from Florida.
We had on, and we had Dr. Auerbach,
Yeah.
and two other doctors.
Well, you see, all you fellows are brilliant, and all of you are experienced, and all of you are expert and gifted. You have talented hands and brilliant minds and eyes that see past the present truth to what could be. And therefore, you're plastic surgeons and make $8 million a year, each of you.
No, it's not that much, because the more you make, the more the government takes. So
Oh,
just
that's
take
right.
it easy.
Thank
After
God
a
for
few
that.
months, just take.
That's why we could spend $250 billion this year for the Pentagon, because we've got enough of you.
I'm telling you, when I go to sleep at
Plastic
night.
surgeons.
No, this is true. The fellows in
You
my
know you
field,
own the fleet
half of it.
and half the Air Force.
When I go to sleep at night, if I don't get up on time, I get a call from Mr. Reagan personally. Would you mind going back to work so I
Yeah.
can pay the bills? Dave, I have an interesting question for you. You know, you've been in television many years, well over 15 years. What trends have you seen in beauty and fashion becoming before your eyes, both in the screen and
Life?
stage? Yeah.
Well, I think it's unmistakable that the trend is toward simplicity or naturalness. Or I remember Joan Crawford
Love her.
with mascara that weighted down her whole face. Her head, Joan Crawford's head, weighed 96 pounds. I once held her head in my arms after having had dinner with her.
Did you get any stock for that? Or any Pepsi-Cola or
No,
anything?
she paid me off in other ways. She let me in free to see her movies, and she let me listen to fake phone calls to her
I see.
daughter.
But no paper, no make-believe hangers. You had to use really good plastic hangers.
No, she had good solid wooden hangers there.
Like to hear that.
She could give you a block knock right on your... Anyway, she was also, I think, cheap and vulgar. She was also artificial. She was also an egomaniacal devil
Sounds fascinating.
with modest gifts. In today's acting fraternity and sorority,
Yes.
she couldn't get arrested.
Why was she so big, though? Why was her
Because
image so great?
she once made Mildred Pierce and a couple of other things where they, you know, you have to act for about 12 seconds in movies. You don't have to act in a movie. You just have to say a word or a phrase or a sentence or two sentences, God forbid 2 sentences. It's called a take. And they do 88 takes.
So you really
and in
can't mess up that
88
badly.
takes, 88 tries, you can say, hello, how are you? In an acceptable way. Or hello, how are you? Sexily, you know. No, honey.
Well, who else?
Do it again, do it again, do it again.
Until you get it right.
Yeah. I saw Kirk Douglas do a scene for a whole day with Vincente Minnelli. It was called Lust for Life, for which Anthony Quinn won an Academy Award. Kirk Douglas did the same thing. Anthony Quinn played, I think he played Kirk Douglas was Van Gogh.
All right.
And Quinn was another painter like Gauguin.
Right.
And Douglas did the same scene all day long, 88 times.
Did he finally get it right?
Not to me. But did it look all right finally on the screen?
That interview I saw last night with Anthony Quinn was quite fascinating.
Anthony Quinn is one of the spectacular
He's one of the great
human
human beings, one of the brilliant men. He's a sculptor, he's an actor, he's so
He's
many
a
things.
mind. He knows Shakespeare, Ibsen, Chekhov. He's read Dostoevsky. He's read Charles Dickens. He's read Shakespeare. He's read...
But he's still full of humility, which is very nice. He's full of warmth, which I think
Well, he's a passionate, loving man.
Yeah.
And his capacity for friendship and love and sex is infinite.
Did he break many of the plates at your house when he came over? Did he, you know?
No, he's never broken a plate, although his wife has almost cut my throat.
Almost cut your throat.
Yeah, I was having dinner with the two of them, alone in Beverly Hills. And have you got a pencil or a pen or something? All right.
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
I sold
Maybe
it.
a floor. Anyway.
Well, whatever.
You got to imagine. All right, here's the ultimate acting. You got to imagine.
You don't need any pen with us.
She's Italian. Oh, is she Italian? Yolanda. I-O-L-A-N-D. Yolanda. She picked up a knife on the table, a steak knife. I had ordered steak, and so had they. On their recommendation, we were eating at the dining room of the Hermitage Hotel.
Great place.
Yeah. On the roof. And we're at the steak dinner. And she picked up a knife and put it right on my throat. That way.
Was she licensed in California to do that? I mean, it just...
No. She was not a doctor. She was a passionate, suspicious, angry.
What did you do?
At any
Who suspected her
What did you do
husband.
to prompt that?
been reading.
I don't know. She said, I hear that you teach my Tony how to fool with prostitutes, women. I said, you hear wrong. She said, don't answer, just listen to me. I said, what mean?
She wasn't kidding around, obviously, was
No.
she?
She said, Tony is special to me. And your attempt to get him to cheat with other women, starlet whores, whore actresses, star whores, will not succeed with my Tony.
That was obvious, huh? Was this before or after the steak?
It was during the steak.
It's very bad for digestion, David. In the future, have her call me so I can talk to you.
I tell you,
first.
I've never come closer to dying,
Scary.
including World War II.
Tell me some more about some of the other actresses you've met and had on the show, you've known, and how they perhaps...
I don't like many actors or actresses.
Well, but how
I,
trends change? Like you mentioned this...
For example, Barbara Streisand
Yes.
is a horror in life.
In what way? It's not fun, not warm,
Well,
not
she's
gracious?
selfish. She only talks about herself. I brought a director over to discuss a motion picture, and she was living on Central Park West. And she was not as big as she is right now. She was only the star of, what do you call it? On Broadway, the thing that found her. Well, the
Funny
story
Girl?
of Fanny Bryce.
Funny Girl, right.
She was the star of Funny Girl. And that was years ago, right?
Yes.
And that wasn't motion picture success quite yet, because her first movie, I think, was Funny Girl. I said, this is Mr. Perry. This is Frank Perry, and this is his wife, Eleanor Perry. She writes, he writes, and she writes and he directs. And I've told you all about them, and we're here, and you've read Diary of a Mad Housewife,
Sure.
and we want you to play the leading part, and she said, fine, come with me. And she said, follow me now. So we went upstairs. It was a duplex on Central Park West. We went upstairs, and she opens a closet, and it was as big as this studio here, as big as this back wall you've got. And there were nothing but shoes in there. Red shoes,
Maybe
green
she had a
shoes,
shoe
white
fetish.
shoes,
Maybe
blue
there's a shoe
shoes,
fetish.
black
Did
shoes,
you ever think about
peach
that?
shoes, huh?
Maybe she had a shoe fetish.
She said, can you ever see so many shoes in your whole life, can you? I said, it's not can, it's have you ever seen so many shoes? Or it's, would you like to comment on so many shoes? It's not can you see. Of course we can, we're not blind. And I tried to teach her a little English language, which of course she is in a hopeless battle, and never will learn it.
Will she win?
No,
You think she's
somebody's got to write hello. She cannot really say
All right,
hello.
so she's
She's also antisocial. She's also got a fiendish insecurity
Well,
in her viscera.
the viscera.
Her viscera
Let me
is
ask you a
right
question.
above her...
A lot of these actors and actresses...
Now, wait, I didn't finish
No?
the story.
Okay.
Afterwards, I said, Barbara, could we stop looking at these bloody shoes and go downstairs and talk about Diary of a Mad Housewife, which was made into a wonderful movie without her.
With the Carrie Snodgress, wasn't
Carrie
it?
Snodgress,
Right.
Frank Langella.
Sure. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
And there was a third person, George C. Scott. No.
No, it wasn't George C. Scott. Well, it'll come to us later on. But
No, Langella was a serious piece of miscasting. Langella was the earthy Hemingway, Norman Mailer kind of writer.
He's a marvelous actor.
He's
I
a
like
great
him.
actor, but
Yeah.
miscast. He's gentle and
He's a better
evil.
vampire. He
He's
really
a vampire,
is. Great
right.
vampire. David,
But-
wait, we'll come right back in 1 second.
No, I just want to tell you one thing.
Okay, you win.
The part
You're
with
my
Frank
guest, you
Langella.
win, you know.
Frank Langella played the Ernest Hemingway lover, rough, gruff, tough. He'd have you right on the floor without
Oh,
even
my
a bed. And the other guy was Dick Benjamin, Paula
Richard
Prentice's
Benjamin.
husband, now
Very
a
good actor.
director.
He's very good,
And
too.
Carrie Snodgrass was the partner.
Isn't that Dick Cavett's wife?
And you know what she said in the living room as we sat down?
What?
I saw your last movie called Last Summer. Were you deliberately out of focus for the whole movie? Were you? I said, God damn it, Barbara, you're insulting.
David, don't move. Be right back. I have a word from one of our commercial sponsors. Don't go away.
When in Sea Cliff, Long Island, consider dining at two of the most exciting restaurants in the metropolitan area. Cafe Harlequin for international cuisine is a most unusual experience. Also, for health and natural foods, Seasons is a great bet. Just take the LIE to exit 39 and proceed to the North Shore at Sea Cliff.
David, tell me, who is the male counterpart of Barbra Streisand?
Easy, Frank Sinatra.
That bad, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's just, in professional terms, he's an absolute cipher. In the sense he has no professionalism. Oh, yes, about the songs he
He's
sings
good
and
singer,
chooses
yes.
to sing. Exquisite taste. Exquisite arrangements. He insists on Nelson Riddle and the great arrangers.
Great background. I mean, all
Yeah,
those
great
violins
background.
Going, yeah.
Great singer.
Yeah.
Great taste. But as a human being, as a professional, when he does a movie, he does a scene one time,
That's it.
he says, print it, and he walks to his dressing room, where in the old days, there might be friends that would entertain him of a female variety. Then they call him at the last second. Everybody is ready, and they're ready, and the woman is the star, the other guy, the co-star is ready, and ready, and ready, and then out comes the king and says, okay, roll it.
Ready also.
And then he
go.
steps in and he says, where did the cops go? When will the cops be here? And he says, that's it, print it.
Print it.
And he goes back to his
Well,
dressing
why do
room.
we expect these stars to be such nice guys?
No,
such
ask
great
why
ladies?
they're like that.
Yeah, why are they
What do
like
they
that?
have in common, those two?
Tell me.
They're from slums. They're slum kids.
But that's not a bad thing.
No.
A lot of people came from
But
the
they've
slums.
never forgotten it. And they cannot ever truly believe, though they make $18 million a year,
And more.
they don't believe that they're successful. They don't believe they deserve it. They think it's a lie, a dream, a fantasy that will disappear with the morning light. And so therefore they do everything too much. They're cruel, inhuman, they're selfish, and they're ugly, awful human beings.
Don't they mellow out, though, with time?
No, never. No, not those. They're really creeps.
Do you think that...
Now, I like people.
Oh, I know that. We've had...
All right, I like you.
Well,
all right,
I hope
but let's
so.
take my profession.
All right.
Women, pride, craft, great pride, great ladies, great ethics, great moralities, great human beings. Meryl Streep,
Oh,
Jane
wonderful.
Fonda, Faye Dunaway, I could go on and on and on.
Those are great actresses. I like
Yeah.
them so much.
And in
Each
the
one.
theater, Colleen Dewhurst, and my goodness, Ellen Burstyn, and I could go on, and
Do you,
Helen
like,
Hayes.
do you like Elizabeth Taylor?
No.
Okay.
Selfish.
How about Richard Burton?
I like him.
Yeah.
Talent gone wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, without her messing up his life,
He'd be great, huh?
he would be the leading actor in the English-speaking language all over the world.
Man's in love sometimes.
Well, the man was crazy.
So,
Now, and he drank too much. Now, the thing of it is, those are some women I like. Fonda, Jane, is a queen of women. Meryl Streep is 10 feet tall. She's a giant talent and a giant human being. And Ellen Burstyn is wonderful and gifted. And Colleen Dewhurst is a superb actress and a great human being. I could go on and on. Now, men, Robert Redford's terrific. Paul Newman is a great human being.
He drives well, too, doesn't he?
actor. Well, it makes you nervous with his racing, particularly when you got him in a movie.
Yeah.
I did a movie, I forget the title. I don't know.
You did the one.
Fort Apache
the
the
Bronx. I went to the opening
Paul
with you,
Newman.
right.
Thank you. You were there and you were.
I had the popcorn.
Ed Asner is a terrific human being. I mean, Jason Robards, a great actor and a great human being. I mean, I could go on, and Frederick March was fabulous. Laurence Olivier, John Gielgud, Alec Guinness, Michael Redgrave. Vanessa Redgrave is a wonderful actress and a terrific human being. Her politics
You
are
don't
just,
yeah, a little strange.
she's just crazy.
Yeah.
She's got a political warp
Yeah.
in her
She's
head.
in a different world.
And I think that when she isn't feeling well, it's because the bile of her political prejudices have backed up
Yeah, I think
and
there's
made
a
her
problem.
nauseous.
There's a problem there. I think she doesn't really
But
see
she's
the
beautiful and a sublime
great
actress.
Great actress.
Oh, I could go on, and Sybil Thorndike and Peggy Ashcroft in England, and here Helen Hayes and Judith Anderson and oh
Do any of these
gosh,
great
oh
actresses-
the lady in
Which
the
one?
theater. She
Which
did
one?
Medea. Oh Lord, my memory tonight.
Tonight,
You-
whatever. I'm going to have a good
All right,
dinner
now
after
what
this.
else do you want to know?
I want to know, do these women have any special secrets that you can share with us?
Sure.
Like what? Like about their skin or health or exercise, nutrition? What do they do to keep
Oh,
themselves?
I don't know how they eat or what they eat, but what they are
Do they look at
wonderful human
surgery?
beings.
Look at surgery on a more.
I don't know if any all of them have had surgery. I doubt it. I would think that Helen Hayes has never done it, and I would think that Medea, Judith Anderson, has never done it, and I would think that Catherine Cornell never did it. I would suspect Meryl Streep's never done it, Jane Fonda's never done it, or would do it.
Well,
I
you
think
know,
that
I think
these
one
women
can
have a
minimize,
natural
though.
glow
Yeah, all right.
that will burn in them in a great way eternally.
Yes, but nothing's wrong, I believe, in minimizing
No.
the excesses of age.
Nothing
or
is wrong at
aging.
all.
Just
It's
look
wisdom.
as best you can. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
If
the
you
point.
think you need help, visually and physically, go get the help.
Right.
It exists. It's a
Yes.
science. It's a medical
It's an art.
science.
It's a
an
science,
art form.
exactly.
And therefore, it's available to you. And if you haven't got much money, there are resources that provide your plastic surgery at reasonable costs. You happen to be an expert and a brilliant master at the craft, and you're very expensive. I know, God knows, I know. But not for any, my wife's not
Well,
had it
the
done.
government needs the money. You know.
No, but you've removed a spot. You've taken off a thing. You've done a toe. You've done a wrist. My women, I've got 4 daughters, Pamela,
And they're all
Diana,
beautiful.
Samantha. I'm wrong. I have,
You have 4.
no, I've got, wait a minute.
You have Sam is the youngest.
The reason it's confusing is I have Pamela and Diana by my first wife.
Right.
And Andrew
That's
by
the
my
son,
first
that's
wife. Yeah.
Right.
I have those 3 children by my first wife. With Joyce Suskind, my second wife, after being married 23 years to the first one and 17 years to the second one, having married at the age of 17.
You put your time in. No one can complain about that.
No, I'm not Mickey Rooney. Oh, I love Mickey Rooney.
great,
It's
isn't
another
it?
one I love.
It's great, isn't
But he
it?
does tend to marry rather often.
Why doesn't he date more?
Well, he dates, but you know what Artie Shaw once said to me?
What's
I
that?
said to him, you've been married so damn many times. He said, how many times is too damn many? I said, well, in your case, 11. He said, what's wrong with 11 times? I said, well, it's indecent, obscene, immoral, it's everything detestable. He said, why? I said, because you to take this woman to be your wife forever. Didn't what God wanted you to do? Isn't that the Bible? Honor thy wife, or don't covet the other guy's wife? He said, look, get it straight, okay? I have had 11 affairs, and I married 11 women. How many affairs have you had, David Suskind?
What was your answer?
I said, I'm married. I am married as we speak. Obviously, I've been married twice.
All right, so you have...
And so, Artie Shaw, I've only had, by your calculation, 2 affairs. Yeah, but by your calculation, how many? I said, it's my show, and we're going to do a commercial right now.
Great.
And that's ended that subject.
Very, very good.
But
Now,
where was
the rest,
subject?
the
What
rest
were
of the
we
kids, we
talking
had
about?
Samantha, your
Oh,
youngest.
Okay, Pamela is the oldest. Diana is the next one. Andrew is the 3rd and youngest of the first marriage. Of the second marriage, we had 1 child, but I have fathered her 2 by her previous husband. We have had Samantha Maria Suskind, who is 17 years old. and
My
she's
buddy.
Your buddy, and your patient. For a little, do
Whatever.
something about that.
Right.
I was in the sun, and
No,
look,
no,
there's
no.
a freckle.
No, she'll walk in and she'll go, hi, and go, Or
Yeah, there's
whatever.
a freckle.
She's terrific.
Do something about that freckle.
Well, she's starting college very soon, too, which is great.
Yes, she's applied to 212 colleges.
I don't think so. I think she's going,
Yeah.
I think she's going where you went.
Well, I hope so. She has applied to Harvard, Yale, Brown, Duke, Columbia, NYU, American University.
Right. I think her safe school is Harvard, though, right?
Her safe school is Harvard now. That'll be the day. That'll be the day.
But she's so
I
bright,
am in
that's
the
why.
middle of composing the necessary requisite letter of the father about the child, be
That's
it
great.
male or female. And I'm finding it very difficult. I haven't committed it to writing yet, but in my mind, I'm saying, how do I say that I think she's glorious without sounding self-serving and
Or as
patronizing?
a father.
And fatherly and familial. I mean, I want to say she's an extraordinary mind, an extraordinary soul, an incredible beauty, a great elegance, a natural wit, and tender
Wait,
and humane.
She's accepted.
Yeah.
That's it, the whole
Take her.
thing.
Would that I could say to President Derek Bach of Harvard College, please admit Samantha Maria Suskind because she's glorious. She's beautiful, elegant, humane, considerate. She's talented, she's witty, she's stylish, she's brilliant,
Wow.
and she's
Can
just
we,
a
can we
great
clone
human
her?
being.
Can we clone her? I accept her. Done. She's in. No problem.
I also have adopted 2 children by Joyce's previous marriage, whose fathers seemed somehow not to be very attentive to them through their years. Shelley and Constance, 2
They
beautiful
live in New York?
names.
They live in New York? your old-
They know. Shelley lives in Chicago, Illinois, with her 2 children, my grandchildren, and Constance lives in New York City with her poet husband, Nicholas.
Great.
Nicholas Christopher, a brilliant poet.
Yeah, some family.
Yes, I do.
David, I want to hear more about, now you've been probably the longest running interview host in
Not probably,
in the
I
United
am.
States. You are.
26 years
26
this
that's-
past October 10th.
That's not chopped liver. That's a long, long time to be on. What are some of the real mega trends that you have really noticed, not just in fashion, but what people want? You said before, natural things. Anything else that really sticks in your
Well,
mind?
people, yeah, today they're very conscious of the meaning of life, maybe because apocalypse is possible, maybe because the unthinkable is
Like
thinkable.
that show last night,
Yeah,
for example.
Yeah, the show.
The Last Day.
The Last Day. That wasn't a show. That was a happening.
Yeah.
That was not a program. It wasn't television. It was an event in world history, and certainly in American history.
I think so,
And the
too.
world, America, will never be the same as a result of the day after.
I think it was well done.
Well done, brilliant discussion afterwards.
Yes, I saw that.
Frightening, chilling, right to the bone. I mean, it made you think, oh my
We've
God.
got to prevent that
We've
thing from
got to
happening.
stop this
Yeah.
madness. Anyway, the thing, what did you ask? Oh, what are people thinking about? They're thinking about living the moment, living the day.
I mean, they're thinking about
They're
planting less,
thinking,
and now's
a
the
black
time.
man, an attendant whose name I don't know, I never have known, but he's a brilliant man, and he is in the washroom, the men's room, of Jimmy Weston. It's a wonderful place, and there's a singer there named Tommy Furtado.
Good steaks.
Good steak, good whiskey, great singers.
So if I want to reach you, if I
And
can't
Tommy
find you, that's the
Furtado
place.
is the single best singer in this country at the moment that I've heard, with the exception of Joe Williams, maybe. But there's always got to be a black and a white, you know? There was Sinatra, and at the same time, Nat King Cole.
Oh, wonderful.
And who do you think was the better? Nat King Cole.
I think.
Yeah,
he's a
Sinatra is a
wonderful-
good second, but Nat King Cole is the all-time great pop singer.
I love that voice.
And the all-time female pop singer, Ella Fitzgerald, and no contest from any white woman or black woman. Okay, now I've told you who's the champs of all time. In Jimmy Weston, in the men's room, there's this wonderful black man. And one night he said to me, as I was washing my hands, listen, tomorrow is forgotten. No, tomorrow is over. Today is now. And nobody promised you tomorrow.
That's great.
Isn't that a great line? Nobody promised
Nobody
you
promised
tomorrow. So, we are living the day. We're living today now, because nobody promised us tomorrow. On the other hand, we're keeping a weather eye on tomorrow because we have children and grandchildren. So, people are eating better, aware of their health, aware
Dressing better,
of dressing better.
exercising.
And it's in the direction of simplicity, not frill and frippery. It's in the direction of simplicity. Simple is elegant. Simple is better. Less
What
is
do you
more.
think are the trends for the next 10 years? Do you have any anticipation? What do
In
you
that direction, because life will be hazardous, life will be tenuous, life will be probable. And therefore, with all of those truths about tomorrow and next month and next year and next decade, I think the direction of living truly, simply, as elegant, but elegant will be simplicity and truth. I think we're getting closer to the truth about politicians, about labor unions, about educators, about teachers, about engineers, about dentists and doctors, and television. Television is so deplorable, except this kind of television
It's fun,
is
isn't
the
it?
television of the future.
It's fun, isn't it?
Sure. I mean, this kind of unfettered television, don't make it like MASH.
Unfettered with Lou
Don't-
Fetter, right?
Unfettered with Lou Fetter. Yeah, that's a great title.
You know something? This is probably one of the most introspective shows I've ever seen or ever heard. And I have news for you. One thing about us, you know, you always take my call, which I'm
Oh, I
very...
always take
you
your call.
always, wherever you are.
You always
if
take mine.
If you're in the washroom, wherever...
Yeah.
Oh, my friend Dr.
That's what I was
Fred-
doing in the washroom.
Look,
washing
we're
my
all,
hands
we're all
after calling
natural,
you.
but we're going to come back to this again very soon. I want you back again because I'll tell you quite frankly, you've always been an interviewer, and some of the things you have to say are so unusual and so to the point, and with such a great, incredible thing, you got to come back. I want to thank you all for joining us, and David Suskind and I want to thank you for watching us. Come back and see us very soon. We're on every week. Good night. Here's looking at you.